Hello Brewtubers. Now I recommend everyone sit down in case they keel over in shock, for this is in fact a brew day video. The first brew of 2024 in mid-May. It's been about 6 or 7 months since I brewed last, and that's disgraceful, frankly. But no, lack of motivation, lots of work to do, not enough time to do it. I've come up with 100 excuses really, but yes, that's sort of the main ones. What am I doing today? I am doing a Pilsner. Nice and simple. Going to chuck a 25 kilogram bag of Pilsner malt into the Brewtools B150, following the basic recipe from the Bible, obviously scaled up. So yeah, 25 kilograms of Pilsner malt, then I think something like 250 grams of SARS, then 100 grams of SARS, and another 100 grams of SARS, and Nova lager yeast to ferment with. The hop schedule, the hops I use will probably change because I don't know what I've got. I know I have got noble hops in the hop freezer, but I don't know what I've got, and I might use a bittering hop at the start of the boil rather than using noble hops. Obviously the low alpha acid's more efficient to use bittering hops. So yes, I will start melting in soon, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Going to be a sort of a make it up as we go along, just following the Bible recipe as a guideline, and yeah, we'll see what we end up with. How exciting! So I'm trying something new today. For the first time, I have connected the Brewtools to the Wi-Fi, and have also then connected the recipe via Brewfather to the machine. So yes, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Usually I just use the app on my iPad, but I thought I'd download the recipe to the machine and see how we go. So as you can see at the moment, it's rather rapidly knocking the temperature up to strike temperature, so we'll see what happens. So just gently adding the Pilsner malt, and then every couple of scoops giving it a good stir so we don't get any clumps. It's a big old scoop, so get a fair bit in. Give that a quick stir. Carry on putting the rest of the grain in. So we've been getting on about half an hour left of the 90-minute mash. Had to battle with stuck sparge. Yeah, I think the grain crush was too fine on this Pilsner malt. But yeah, well, you know, we get by. So just about to start sparging. The sparge water is in the hot cap on the right there, 50 litres of sparge water, and that's going to go through that three-way thin valve and be pumped up through into the grain basket, obviously where it will drain into the main brewer. So yeah, just waiting for the wort to drain from the grist, and we will start sparging properly. And sparging away there, I'm just going to reduce the flow rate a little bit, but yeah, get that sparge and then onto the boil. So I tripped the electrics, switched off some surplus equipment I'm not using at the moment, and switched the Brewtools back on, and it decides to do a software update. I haven't got very good Wi-Fi in here because it's coming off the house, which is obviously over there in the garden, so I've got to wait for this to download before I can resume. So we're still waiting to start the boil. I tripped the power in here and the machine switched off. So when I switched everything back on and just turned off a couple of not being used electrical items, it prompted the Brewtools to do a software update, and that took about half an hour, 45 minutes, and it wasn't doing anything. So I switched it off, hotspotted my iPad, and then started it up again, downloaded the update fine, so that was very inconvenient. And now I can't use the recipe setting, so I downloaded the recipe from Brewfather into the Brewtools, but you can't skip a step, so it wants me to mash again, and I don't want to mash again because that takes 90 minutes and we're running out of time. So onto manual mode, and hopefully next time we will do the the recipe mode completely, but we've had to give up on this occasion. So right, it's all set to 100% heating up, so we'll see what happens. So we've reached the start of the boil. In goes the 100 grams of nugget hops in a hop bag, just because it's leaf hops, so I don't want to have any blocked up pumps later on. It's now 9:10 at night. Just place the kettle underneath the ceiling fan, and it's drawing the steam out quite nicely. Last 10 minutes of the boil. In goes 100 grams of SARS and the Protocol tablets. It would do if they come out the bloody package. There we go. Last minute of the boil. In goes another 100 grams of SARS hops, minus steam. So I'll just let that go for a minute and then switch off and start recirculating the water through the plate chiller. So that is the plate chiller doing its business. So it's switched off in there, and we are slowly but surely coming down to temperature. And once that's cooled down a bit, I'll transfer directly into the fermenter. So it's just gone midnight. That was a lot longer than it should have taken. Yeah, so electricity dripping and resetting everything really did delay things by an hour or two. And then after the sparge, I thought sod it. Before I start the boil, I met my dad down the pub for dinner and a couple of pints of Harvey's Sussex Best, and then resumed brewing at about 8 o'clock afterwards. So yeah, by the time I got back up to the boil, had my hour boil, then cooled and transferred to the fermenter, and then cleaned everything. Yeah, it's now gone midnight, so there we go. That's been a long old brew day. Mostly clean. I did the grain basket a lot earlier, just sort of rinsed out the Brewtools kettle. That's just lightly clean. Lightly cleaned the plate chiller. So what I'll do tomorrow, or not tomorrow because I'm working, when I'm not working next Tuesday, what I'll do on Tuesday is just give everything a final spick and span clean, ready for the next brew day, whenever that may be. So yeah, things went mostly okay really, despite what it seemed. So we had a very slow mash. It was nearly stuck, but it did drain a little bit. So yeah, stuck mash, stuck sparge to a certain extent. Then obviously all the electronic problems, me trying to be clever with technology didn't really work very well. I think because I've never connected to the internet, it just went mad with updates, and you can't get out of the update. You have to go through it. There's no cancel button or update later. You've got to go for it. So yeah, not ideal, but there we go. I think it's all done now, but I'll play around with the technology settings another day and just make sure that that doesn't happen again. Do I think, you know, using the Brewtools and the Brewfather combination, you know, send the recipe to the Brewtools machine from Brewfather might be quite interesting to do. I did try and do it again, but you can't skip stages, so I didn't want to go through the whole mashing process again because I'd already done it. So anyway, got to work it out. Collected 120 litres of wort, which was pretty much bang on, and 1.048 on the hydrometer, which again was bang on. So it should be a 5% lager once it's done. I pitched the Nova lager yeast. I used 3 packets for 120 litres, which is probably under pitching slightly actually, but that's all I've got, so there we go. Yeah, see what happens. Fermenting at 15 degrees Celsius for as long as it takes. Then transfer to kegs. Take some down to the church in June to sell. Keep some for myself for the clubhouse, and see if I can plug one to my friends at Creative Juices. So yeah, see what happens. Right, I'm going to leave it there. So yes, let's see what it tastes like. So there we have it, my Czech Pilsner. I've poured myself 2 glasses. There's a good reason for that. Obviously you saw me pour this one. It's because when I tried to do the pouring video into this, it foamed up from there onwards, so it didn't look so good. I don't want you to think my pouring technique is bad. Anyway, so I'm going to review from this glass. Nice Holstein Pils glass there. Beautifully clear, as you can see. Get the condensation off the outside. It's nicely chilled from the fridge. I think it's set to 3 degrees or 4 degrees, something like that. Yeah, beautifully clear. I used gelatin for the first time as a clearing agent. Just thought I'd see what happens using gelatin, and yeah, that's very impressive. I like the clarity. So fermentation, we were supposed to finish at 1.010, however the Nova lager yeast actually dropped it down to 1.008, so instead of being a 5% beer, it's 5.3%, which is, you know, that's fine. 83% attenuation, so yeah, that Nova lager yeast can Nova lager yeast. But yeah, there we are. Let's dive in. So I've had a couple of these already, but right, good points first. It's very refreshing and drinkable. It's got a really nice, crisp, dry finish to it. You get some really pleasant malty notes from it, and a little bit of grassy hayness. All in all, it's a very drinkable summer drinking beer, although not sessionable at 5.3% perhaps, but it certainly is something to enjoy when the sun is out at times. The weather's been up and down all month, all year even. You know, like last week we were 30 degrees sweltering, and today I've had to put my jacket on because it's not really that warm out, but there we go. So they're the good points. It does tick all of the lager characteristics. The bad points is I think it's too sweet. I don't think I put enough hops in. So obviously it's finished really low, but it still has a slightly aggressive sweetness to it. It's just a little bit, it's not as balanced as I would have liked. has, perhaps because I've become more used to the beer, or perhaps it has evolved a bit. It's not quite as sweet as it was when I first tried it. It was almost sickly sweet when I first tried it. So either my palate has adjusted, or it's just the beer has evolved and it is now a little less sweet than it was originally. But yes, it's not. I'm not entirely happy with it for that reason. It's got all the right characteristics for a lager, so it's really on the right track. I just need to add, I reckon I need to add more bittering hops and more late addition hops as well. I think it just needs to be, maybe not doubled, but certainly increased significantly. It's not a drain pour though. It is enjoyable enough to move on to a second glass of it. But yes, my friend Simon, you may have seen in the previous video, he came round yesterday and we had a little barbecue outside and we're drinking this all night, and he said the same. You know, it's a nice crisp dry lager, however the sweetness is a little bit more than you would perhaps want. So I think, you know, that's fair appraisal. I agreed with him. But yeah, when I brew this again next, which I certainly will do, I'm really happy with Nova Lager yeast. I won't change anything to the malt bill. You know, well, it was just Pilsner malt. Literally, I just chucked the whole bag in. But you know, all of that side of things was fine. Just add more hops, and I'll be a happy man. But yes, you do get a nice, crisp, dry initial whack, and then it's just sort of a bit brutally sweet. And I'm super happy how clear that is. It's lovely and clear. So yes, that is my Czech Pilsner. Not entirely successful, but not a complete disaster, which is where things seem to be at the moment. I will brew that again eventually. Whether I do it this year or next year, I'm not entirely sure, but I certainly will have a go at brewing it again and just make a few adjustments. Other than that, not sure when or what I'll be brewing next. Pardon me. Likely to be a porter, I reckon. But I'm not sure when I'll have the chance to do that, because my July is fairly packed. I've still got about 100 litres of this in the fermenter still. I also got 2 fermenters, but I've only packaged 1 corny keg, so I do need to think about doing something with the rest of it, because that is sat at the fermenter. The fermenter's chilling, so it's at 6 degrees I think in the fermenter, so it's chilled, but I ought to really get that out and stuck in kegs. The only problem is, if I put it in kegs, I haven't got cold storage for the beer, so it might even just be better sat in the fermenter until I can work out something to do. Anyway, I'm rambling on. Thank you very much for watching this grain to glass video. Hopefully I may do another this year. I say the problem with doing brew day videos is that sometimes you never get to see the results of the beer, which I think is a shame. You know, if you dedicate half an hour to watching one of my videos, you probably want to see how the beer turns out, which is why the grain to glass format is so good. Anyway, that's that. So yes, thank you for watching, and I shall see you all again another time. Cheerio.